There's a difference from digital gold and then the most pristine collateral ever conceived here on this planet. And there's only one person that can describe it better than anyone else that I can imagine. You all know him, love him. Everybody welcome CJ Konstantinos up to our stage.
Good morning, everybody. My name is CJK, and I am the founder of People's Reserve. We believe with Bitcoin-powered finance, we can help you build wealth smarter. Our mission is to make finance great again. And in a fiat world where everything is upside down and backwards, we have our work cut out for us. But with the creation of Bitcoin, we actually have hope. And that's because Bitcoin is engineered money. It was strategically designed to leverage the natural laws of economics and commodity cycles and price discovery to store value through time. That makes it an extremely valuable asset. Actually, it makes it the most pristine form of collateral in the world. Now, of course, collateral underpins the entire financial system, so this understanding is really important. And in 1971, when they removed gold from backing the dollar, we actually saw the monetization of real estate. And Michael Saylor calls it land banking. And what happened is after it was monetized, it was financialized. We saw financial tools built up around the asset class itself, like mortgages, second mortgages, home equity lines of credit. And this allows you to unlock the equity in your asset without giving up ownership, a really important concept when you're trying to compound wealth and grow your wealth. And at People's Reserve, we believe the future of collateral is Bitcoin. We believe that with Bitcoin, in our flagship product, we call it a Bitcoin-powered mortgage. And we cross-collateralize Bitcoin with real estate. And we're the first to do it. So we're really excited to innovate and bring this product to market. And of course, the question is, well, what's the interest rate? But we'll get back to that in a minute. Let's look at some of the other things that come with this product. The first thing is that you get a one-to-one collateral to loan value requirement. This is a really big deal because in the industry right now, if you want to borrow against your Bitcoin, you're looking at a 50 to 70% loan to value ratio. So if you want to buy a $500,000 home, you're going to have to post $1 million worth of Bitcoin collateral. And then the lender actually treats it like it's a risk on tech stock and you're borrowing against it on margin. So you have liquidation risk. At People's Reserve, we don't want you to buy your home and then not be able to sleep at night because you're worried about losing your Bitcoin because of price volatility. And we'll get back to that liquidation risk mitigation in a little bit. But some of the other things that go along with our product, there are no credit checks and no income verification. And that's because in the digital economy, your promise doesn't really mean anything. If you come into a lender and you promise to pay us back, that's great, but that's actually high risk for the lender. If you come in and you put Bitcoin on the table, Bitcoin is the money and money talks. If you put Bitcoin on the table, we can trust you. We can work with you. That is the future that we're moving into with Bitcoin as pristine collateral. A couple other things, there's no taxable event when you borrow against your Bitcoin versus when you sell it. So all the elites of the world, they have a super asset, right? Elon Musk has Tesla shares, Jeff Bezos has Amazon. And recently, actually, Elon borrowed against some of his Tesla shares to help finance a portion of the purchase of Twitter. So he borrowed against his Tesla shares because he didn't want to sell them and pay capital gains tax, and he didn't want to give up equity in a company that he believes he's going to change the world with. So he borrowed against those shares, financed a portion of the purchase, used the cash flows from his portfolio to close the debt. At the end of it, he still has his Tesla shares, and he has X. So this is how the elites of the world compound wealth. They unlock purchasing power from their portfolio in their assets by borrowing against them, not by selling them. And of course, there's no rehypothecation at People's Reserve. We don't believe in those fiat games. And we don't just say that. We actually contractually obligate ourselves to not rehypothecate. We would be in breach of contract if we took your pristine collateral and did something else with it. Your pristine collateral is being used to secure the loan, and that's good enough. No other fiat games need to be played. Now, let's talk about liquidation risk. How do we mitigate liquidation risk? This is one of our biggest innovations. We've created a contract that introduces adjustable interest rates. And I want to talk about COVID because everybody remembers about the price volatility through COVID. Let's run through an example of like if you borrowed from a traditional lender versus using people's reserve products. Well, the price of Bitcoin was like at $10,000. You wanted to buy a $500,000 house, so you post $1 million of Bitcoin collateral. You got your $500,000, you bought your house. Price of Bitcoin starts dropping because of this liquidity event. Price is going down towards $5,000. You get a margin call. They tell you post more margin, you're at risk of liquidation. Price of Bitcoin goes under $3,500, you're liquidated. All of your Bitcoin is gone. The most valuable asset on your balance sheet is no longer yours because of price volatility. Unacceptable for us at People's Reserve. So we mitigate this risk through adjustable interest rates. So let's go through the same example, but with our product. You want to buy a $500,000 house, you post the $500,000 of Bitcoin collateral. We're able to do that at a one-to-one rate because it's cross-collateralized by the Bitcoin and the real estate. Now the price of Bitcoin goes down, your interest rate adjusts up slightly. Price of Bitcoin goes down below 3,500, your interest rate adjusts up a little bit more. So what happens is, for a month or two, you pay a little bit higher of a monthly payment on your mortgage. But when Bitcoin bounces back up to 10,000, the person in the traditional lending scheme lost everything. They should still have their Bitcoin. It's right back at 10,000, but I have nothing left. But at People's Reserve, you paid a couple months of a higher monthly payment, and when Bitcoin goes back up, you're right back to your original payment again. You still hold your Bitcoin on your balance sheet. You didn't lose it. You weren't liquidated. That's of the utmost importance for us at People's Reserve, for you to be able to do that. So before I jump into the starting interest rate, I want to talk about Michael Saylor's digital asset framework, because obviously today we're talking about Bitcoin as a digital commodity, which is an asset without an issuer, backed by digital power. And that's what makes it a pristine collateral. It has to obey the laws of thermodynamics. It properly stores value through time. But something that is in his digital asset framework that gets ignored is the digital token, which is a fungible asset with an issuer offering digital utility. Today, we're very excited to announce that we are embracing Michael Saylor's digital asset framework, and we are launching a loyalty token for the People's Reserve platform. Now, let's be extremely clear. Bitcoin is money, and nothing can compete with it. And anything that tries to compete with Bitcoin is a scam. You should stay as far away from it as you possibly can. The whole point of crypto is to complement Bitcoin as the reserve asset of the internet economy, as the most pristine form of collateral in the world. And that is what we are doing with our token. So what do you get for having the token? You qualify for your loyalty level, because we believe that if you're loyal to us, you should be treated like royalty. I've worked with exchanges for over a decade, and they've made hundreds of thousands of dollars from me. But the person who signed up last week still pays the same fees as me. There's no way to establish loyalty. Well, we don't want you to have to work with us for a decade to establish loyalty. You can do that by getting your loyalty token. And when you do that, your starting interest rate, it affects all of our products and services, but your starting interest rate is going to be based on your loyalty level. So you're going to actually be able to get a rate that is below the prime rate today. So as you can see, if you don't believe in tokens, that's okay. I wouldn't either after what this industry has done. And you can work with us as a basic member. Your starting interest rate will be at 10.5%. Now you can over collateralize your loan and buy back some of those points. We do that to the extent of 20 basis points per every 10%. And we have a max over collateralization level of 200%. Basically, what that means is you can shave 4 percentage points from the rates you see here on the screen, your starting rate. So even if you're a basic member and you want to buy a $500,000 house, you can post $1.5 million of Bitcoin collateral, reduce the risk for the lender significantly, and interest rates are a function of risk, so we can lower your interest rate. So 10.5 minus 6 is 6.5. The prime interest rate today is 7.5. That means that People's Reserve, even with no loyalty tokens, you can get a prime minus interest rate on your Bitcoin-powered mortgage. If you establish your loyalty and you get to the diamond level, your starting rate is at 7.5. That means if you over-collateralize, your interest rate will be at 3.5%. The U.S. government today is borrowing at 4 to 4.5%. Because guess what? As a Bitcoiner, as a responsible saver of the most pristine form of collateral in the world, you are the risk-free borrower, not the government because they have a printer. Having a printer no longer defines you as the risk-free borrower. Having the most pristine form of collateral in the world is what defines you as the risk-free borrower. So we're super excited to be able to empower responsible savers of Bitcoin to take advantage of financial tools that are going to allow them to increase their quality of life and standard of living. And we like to say, don't speculate, calculate, because the token is designed to deliver economic benefits to you, calculable economic benefits. What does that mean? Well, if you look at the screen, if you get a traditional mortgage at the prime rate today of 7.5% over 15 years, your payment is over $4,000. But at People's Reserve, if you establish your loyalty and you over-collateralize, you can get that same $500,000 loan at 3.5%. Which is just over $3,500. That equates to over $1,000 of savings per month. That's $1,000 that you can use to stack more Bitcoin or increase your quality of life and standard of living. Over the life of the loan, you will save over $190,000 in interest savings. That is what we call calculable economic benefits. And it's these calculable benefits that actually secure the fundamental value of the token. You look at the rest of crypto and everybody's just waiting for prices to go up. It does nothing for you. It's mostly just a scam. It's not a digital utility token under Michael Saylor's digital asset framework because there is no utility. With our token, there is utility because there's calculable economic benefit. You're going to save money by getting access to the lowest cost of capital in the world because you have the most pristine form of collateral in the world. So how do you get involved? You can go to peoplesreserve.com and sign up for our newsletter. That's where you're going to get all of the latest and greatest news as we move into our live launch. On July 4th, we call it We the People Day at People's Reserve. That's one of our slogans. We like to serve we the people. And that is when we're going to have our token sale. So you'll be able to buy your tokens if you want to. Again, we're always happy to work with you no matter if you have them or not. And your rate will be based on your loyalty level. But on that 4th, we're going to take back our financial freedom. And it all starts with Bitcoin-powered finance. So I'll be around if you have any questions. Feel free to come up and talk about anything you want to. But we're really excited to be able to be an innovator and a first market mover and to develop a product that actually recognizes Bitcoin as pristine collateral and then empowers the responsible savers of Bitcoin to actually increase their quality of life and standard of living because of that responsible saving, unlocking the purchasing power of your Bitcoin without giving up ownership. Thank you so much.